Yeah, it was. I'll tell you what happened. There was an almond. I ate an almond and I started choking. One almond. Baruch Hashem. Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Good evening. We are beginning Gemara Masechah Berachot Daf Chavav Amud Bet on the top first word of the page. Last week we started speaking about. Thank you guys for waiting. We're starting a little bit delayed. Hopefully we'll go until 10 o'clock just to make up for some lost time. If anyone has to leave early, please feel free. Shalom Aleichem, Daniel. Thank you for coming, spending your summer nights learning Torah. Make sure you tell your teachers. Okay, so let's go. Last week, we began the fourth perek of Masechah Berachot, which has to do with the zmanim, the times of the Amidah, of Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit. And as we were speaking about the times, we said that the latest time to pray Shacharit is Chatzot, or Revidah tells us until the end of the fourth hour. And we said, hold on a second. If someone misses the Shacharit prayer, they could still make it up in the afternoon after Mincha time, right? They could pray Mincha and then pray Shacharit. That's a concept called Tashlumin. So the Gemara challenges it and says, why are you telling me that you could only play Shacharit until 12, until Chatzot, until midday? You could really pray it all day long. Now the Gemara could have simply said, because you can't do that on purpose. It could have said that's only in a situation of an accident. But the Gemara gives another answer, and says there's two types of praying. There's praying at the right time, and then there's praying not at the right time. And if someone says Shacharit after the time of Shacharit, they get the reward for praying. But if someone says it at the proper time, they get the reward for praying on time. This is what we spoke about. I gave my example. If there's like some sort of a discussion board, and like they have this in school, how everyone has to give a discussion, and the discussion board is due Wednesday at midnight. So if someone is putting in the discussion before that time, it's one thing. And then if someone comes 6 months later to fulfill his requirements, puts a discussion post in there, okay, you get the credit for, yes, you did it, but you didn't do it on time. You're gonna get docked because you're not doing it on the right time. You get what I mean? So once we spoke about that concept of Tashlumin, that led us into saying, what happens if you miss Mincha twice? Can you miss Mincha? Can you pray Arvit twice? And the answer was, yes, you can. Which means Tashlumin can go across dates. It could go from tonight was the 19th of Tammuz, tonight is the 20th of Tammuz. So Tashlumin goes across dates. Now we're going to get into the question of, does Tashlumin transfer along different types of prayers? If it goes from Mincha of a weekday to Mincha of Arvit of a weekday, does it go from Mincha of Shabbat to an Arvit of a weekday? Can you transfer across? What do you guys think? You think no? You think yes?
The mechanism, the way you do it is we're going to find. I don't know the exact way to do it, but you can.
Okay, so there's a way to do it, and you're just not sure how to do it, but you think that there should be a way to do it. Elon says no. Well, you can't. If I miss Mincha Friday afternoon, can I pray Arvit of Shabbat twice? Yeah. No, not to pray. That's the thing. I'm like, do I pray the current prayer twice? Yeah. Okay. You think machloket? Yeah, it's probably the right answer. Even if it's not the right answer, someone definitely argues it. Okay, so let's go ahead. By the way, for those on the Zoom, he answered machloket, which it's the right answer. Okay, but let's go ahead and now see it. We're starting on Chavav Amud Bet 26B. In the art scroll, it's 26BA. It's the big B1. It's the first. Sorry, I just want to close my WhatsApp.
We don't need more.
Yeah. We're gonna need the next art scroll. Okay, here we go. Oh, I didn't even open the Safari yet. Okay, so Gemara, Masechah Berachot, Daf 26B. Here we go, Berachot 26B, starting right on the top. Hey, Baba. Clicked on the wrong one. We learned in a Braita. Thank you, Tony Sadiq. You're a Kohen. You're not allowed to. Okay, thank you. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. Ta'av lo yitpalel mincha be'erev Shabbat. This was the case I just asked Elon. Friday afternoon, you didn't pray mincha. Why? You were at the beach. You know, summer Fridays. It's a long day. Even though it should be easier to pray mincha, for some reason, somehow, there's other things that goes on. But then all of a sudden, it becomes Friday night. Oh, I didn't pray mincha yet. It's already nighttime. What should I do? Mitpalel beleil Shabbat time. The Braita says you are, in fact, allowed to pray Arvit of Shabbat twice. Okay? Now let's go to 24 hours later. If you didn't pray Mincha Shabbat afternoon, you had a nice chulin uchodov, and took a nap, and you wake up and it's dark. During the winter time, this is very possible. You finish your lunch at 2 o'clock, you wake up, Shabbat's over. If you take a nap. So all of a sudden, the guy just misses mincha. And this is why you should pray early mincha. But okay, what can you do? So you could pray Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat, 2 week night Amidas. Meaning you pray Arvit, you say Shema Yisrael, you say Hashem Sefadai Tiftach, you pray the entire Amidah, Oseh Shalom Ramav, you finish. Okay. You take a break and then you say Adonai Sefadai Tiftach Ufi Agid Yatela, you say it again. Now, very good. On Saturday nights, you uniquely have to say Atachon Antanu, which is Havdalah. So I'm going to say 2 Arvits. Do I say Atachon Antanu in both of them? Do I say it only in one of them? And if it's only in one of them, which one do I say it in? The Braita continues. Mavdil Barishona, you can say the Atachon Antanu, the Havdalah, in the first prayer. Ve'eno Mavdil B'shniya, and you do not say it in the second prayer. Think about it like this. When you're praying, the first prayer has to do with now. You don't make up something before you do your current obligation. It's Saturday night. I have to pray Arvit. I miss Mecha. Chill. Focus on right now first. Once you take care of yourself, then you give the life vest to the little kids. Then you take care of someone else, right? That's what they say you should do. You first take care of yourself, then you take care of someone else. Here, you first take care of the current prayer, then you go and you catch up. So when should you say Atachon Antanu? The one that's for Saturday night, which is the first one. Not in the second one. Okay? Now look at this. This guy somehow messed it up, yeah?
What is, let's say, your 8-year-old double in that situation, Saturday night, and you forget the first one, you say the second one.
This guy forgot mincha and then he forgot it and then just relaxed. Okay, very good question. What are you supposed to do? Let's see this Braita first to see what happens if someone does what you just said, and then we're going to like clear out what you should do in that situation. But hold on a second. Braita continues. Let's say you did the Havdalah in the second one, not in the first. You did not do Havdalah in the first one. So what happens? You guys know what I mean when I say Havdalah. I don't mean like holding up a candle. I'm talking about saying Atachon Antanu in the bracha Atachon en Adam Dat. That is Atachon Antanu, Hamavdil ben Kodesh Shechol. You say it in the Amidah. You have to do it in your Arvit prayer, which is first, and then you make up your Mincha. You make up your Mincha by praying your weeknight, but you don't say Atachon Antanu again. That's what we said. Now, what happens if the guy reversed it? He didn't say it in the first one, and he does say it in the second one. So now what? So it says, Shniya al talo. The second one worked because your second one was your Arvit prayer. Rishona lo al talo. The first one was a waste of words. It didn't do anything. So you never, yes. To make up your mincha, you have to do a third one. This is a guy who missed one prayer, and because of that, he has to say 3 other prayers. Now, okay, so we're not done. I know there's a lot of questions, but this is exciting. We're not done yet with the flow question. I'm going to come back to you in a second. But so here's where we are. The guy didn't say Havdalah in the first one. He said it in the second one. Now the first one didn't work. So now what happens?
The whole Amidah didn't work.
The whole Amidah didn't work. Okay. So as you said, you never had your mincha prayer. Okay. Now, Gemara is going to ask a question and say, "Let me ask you a question first." Okay. You know what? I'll open up for questions. Yeah.
It's like teaching us that you forget back when you're making prayer, you miss the first time you generally have to make up
Say it again. Say it again.
Like forget the fact that you missed just one straight party against adult.
Okay. Okay, very good. This is exactly the train of thought that the Gemara is going to go into. The Gemara is going to say, Okay, hold on a second. What happens on a regular Saturday night? If I forget to say Atachon Antanu, okay, I'm praying Arvit, I forget to say Atachon Antanu. Do I have to go back and say it again? No. Why not? Very good. Because you're going to say Havdalah afterwards with a cup. I mean, hopefully you're going to say it on the cup afterwards. So the fact that you missed it in Arvit does not disqualify your Arvit. You get it? A Saturday night Arvit without Atachon Antanu still is valid. Because you could say Atachon, you could say Havdalah afterwards. So now you have to ask the question of, hold on a second. The first one should be good then. So why is the first? You're telling me the guy has a situation where he needs to make up his mincha. So in his first Amidah, he doesn't say Atachon Antanu. In the second one, he does. And we say, first one's no good.
Because the second.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
The second-
Very good.
Did he have kavanah in the second topic?
Okay. Very good. Very good.
The second, it's actually just becoming his first one.
The second one's becoming the first one. What happened to the first one though? You said it. Why did that get disqualified? If I would have stopped right there.
If you stopped there, it would have been fine. After you said the second one,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Guys, I've never seen so much excitement out of you guys. You guys are,
This is happening all of us.
what's going on right now? Right. Oh, now you're saying the flip. What happens if you do? If you say more, okay, very good question. Very good question. All right. All right, let's try to reel it back in for a second. Here's like the baselines that we're gonna see right now. The Gemara is going to talk to us about what happens if you miss it on a Saturday night. Gabriel, about your question about what happens if I say extra, it's not a problem because you're not saying an extra bracha for it. You're saying it within the bracha. However, if we're going to see a braita now, right now we're going to see a braita. What happens if there are things that you should say and you don't? Okay, let's see the braita. The Gemara is going to ask us the question. The Gemara is going to say, again, our baseline here is the case is the guy said to Arvit Saturday night. First one, he didn't say Atachon Antanu. Second one, he did. So he said the second one is good for your Arvit. Your first one is no good. The Gemara asks, Lamemer de Keven de lo Avdil b'Kamaita. That implies that since he did not say Atachon Antanu, he didn't say Havdalah in the first one. Keman de la Dami. It's as though he didn't pray. That's what you're telling me. And you're going to require me to go back and say another one because you're saying, hey, that first one's not good. So I would have to be required to say another one, right? Or minhu, there's a contradiction from another braita. Here's the braita. Let's say someone didn't mention givurot geshamim. What is that referring to? Whoever was with us with Masechet Ta'anit, which was the first Masechet we learned as a group, like 8 years ago, the first daf of the first Masechet had to do with Mazkirin Gevurot Geshamim, that we have to mention Mashiv HaRuach Umrin Geshem in the second bracha of Amidah. Ata Gibor L'Olam Hashem, that's the beginning of the second bracha. You say Mashiv HaRuach Umrin Geshem during the winter times. Let's say you forget it. Our Braita says, a person made a mistake, or he didn't mention it. Or ush'ela b'birkat hashanim, or he didn't say v'ten talu matar lebracha in the bracha barach aleinu when he's supposed to. It's the season to say barach aleinu, and he forgot. Machzirin oto, you have to go back and say it again. If you forgot mashiv haruach or v'ten talu matar lebracha, you have to go back and say it again. Havdalah b'chonen hadat. If you forgot to mention Havdalah in the bracha of chonen hadat, and machzirin oto, you do not have to go back and say it again. Why? You guys all said it. Because you could then say it on the cup. You're going to say Hamavdil v'kodesh techol afterwards when you say Havdalah with the candle and on the cup. So it's okay if you missed it in your Arvit. So the Gemara says, I have an issue here. The guy forgot to say he forgot to pray mincha. This guy's forgetful. Now in his Arvit, he forgot to say Atachon Antanu. But he said it again, and he said a second one, and he did say Atachon Antanu. And you tell me the first one's no good. But why is the first one no good? I know that if you miss Atachon Antanu, it still works. The Gemara's answer, Kashya. That's a good question. The Gemara sometimes says, I don't know the answer. And when the Gemara does that, there's two ways of doing it. Sometimes it says Kashya, good question. Kashya means that's a difficulty. I don't have an answer for you. Sometimes it says Tiyufta. What does Tiyufta mean? It's refuted. That means what you're saying is so strong that I reject what I said. Here, it's not rejecting what it says. It just says it's a good question, but it leaves it as a question. Why? There's many commentators explain that our scroll brings it.
Berachot that are each other, and it's saying.
So one
They're both valid for Berachot, we just don't know.
we just don't know. We have one bright. What is it?
What's taken?
Oh, so teku is a different type of function. Teku is when the Gemara asks a question and says, Ibayalahu, I have a question. In this certain halacha, should I do like this or should I do like that? It says, well, let's try to prove it. We don't have conclusive proofs. Teku, we don't know the answer. Okay? But this is different. This is you have one braita that right. That's also pretty simple. Yeah. You have two Tanaim that are going against each other. One talks about the situation of if a guy missed Mincha Shabbat, he has to pray Arvit Saturday night. If in his first Arvit on Saturday night, he doesn't say Atachon Antanu, but he does say it in his second Arvit. The second Arvit works. First one was no good. Okay? But that implies that his first one is no good because he missed Atachon Antanu, right? But we have another braita that says if you miss Atachon Antanu on Saturday night, it's good. So which one is it? So the Gemara says, Kasha, it's a contradiction. But the Gemara could have, and Rav Hai Gaon, I believe, gives a very simple answer. The answer is what Jaden was alluding to. If he would have just simply prayed Arvit and missed Atachon Antanu, then fine. That one was your Saturday night Arvit. You missed Atachon Antanu, okay, but you could say Havdalah. But since he continued and prayed Arvit again, and when he prayed Arvit again, he put in Atachon Antanu, what is he saying? He's saying that's my Arvit. Because I'm saying Atachon Antanu, so that's my Arvit. So what was your first one? What were you doing? You were praying your mincha? Oh, that's not good. Because when you're making up, your makeup has to come second. You have to pray the current prayer first. Which means, if the guy says both without, he would be fine. But since he said Atachon Antanu in the second one, he's making it clear that the second one is my Arvit. So what was your first one?
Really? You missed that first one, don't say it in the second.
Correct. If you miss Atachon Antanu in the first one, say Havdalah on the cup. And in your second one, don't say Atachon Antanu because your second one is supposed to be making up your mincha prayer. And if you're making up your mincha prayer, it's not making up your Arvit, so you do not say Atachon Antanu. Okay? Yes.
They said, you already said like, Shafari, and they're praying, you can't just jump in and start praying with them, you already said it.
Oh, yeah.
He said.
You remember what Rabbi Yochanan said? Yeah, Ulvai. Very good, very good. Yeah, you got it. Look at that. You just said it within a second. So yeah, so we had a lot of discussion about whether you're allowed to pray extra prayers or not. There's a big machloket. One opinion, Rabbi Yochanan says, Ulvai sheitpalel adam kol hayam kulo. Rabbi Yochanan told us that if someone wants to pray, let him pray as much as he wants. Let him keep going. It's fine. But we don't hold that way. We spend a lot of time talking about the concept of tefillat nedava. Shulchan Aruch talks about it. The Gemara tells us it's only if you're able to add something new to it. Okay? So here, what's happening is the guy missed a prayer. He missed Shabbat. So what he needs to do is to pray twice. Once Arvit, and once Arvit again to make up. But you only need to do Havdalah once. You don't do Havdalah twice. So if he were making up with a regular Arvit, your prayers are going to be identical. But since it's a Saturday night Arvit, you're going to have to say Havdalah. You only say Havdalah in the first one. This guy reversed the order. Since he reversed the order, really what he's showing is that my second one was the Arvit. So what was your first one? You're going out of order. No good. Which means, it's basically like Elon, it's basically the guys coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to do my mincha now by praying Arvit, and he prays it. And then when he's done, he says, now I'm going to do my Arvit. That's no good. And his first one doesn't count. He'll have to make that one up. Okay. Okay, amazing. So ask your question again.
On the Erev Rosh Chodesh, Arvit, you say Ya'aleh V'yavo. Let's say you missed Mincha that day.
Yeah.
You say Ya'aleh V'yavo in the first one is Arvit, but then you have to say in the second one is Rosh Chodesh.
Very good. So this rule here, what we're learning is that you're always going to make up a missed prayer with the current prayer, even if the current prayer is not the same as what you missed. So if you missed a mincha Friday afternoon, you make it up by saying Arvit of Shabbat twice, even though it's different. If you miss a Shabbat morning, you say your Shabbat afternoon twice, even though it's different.
No, you don't do Musaf.
Okay, Musaf is a different story. Musaf, we're going to see that there's no Tashlumin for Musaf.
I'm saying, and you say your Shachrit Tashlumin with Musaf, say two Musafs.
No,
You have to say it with.
it has to be with Mincha. Musaf does not have Tashlumin, and it's not going to be used. Now, correct, you would say Ya'aleh V'yavo twice. Meaning, if it's Mincha on Erev Rosh Chodesh, now it turns out the night is Rosh Chodesh, I need to make up a missed Mincha. Do I say Ya'aleh V'yavo only in the first one? Or do I say it in both of them? You say it in both because you have to pray the current prayer. The reason it's different on Saturday night is because you don't say Havdalah twice. You don't need to do Havdalah twice. Once you said Havdalah, you're done. Havdalah is saying, I'm now no longer, I'm distinguishing between Shabbat and weekday. You don't need to do that again 5 minutes later. You did it already. But mentioning Rosh Chodesh, you have to pray the current prayer. It could get very complicated. It could get very complicated. Yeah, Chagin. Yom Kippur, what happens if you miss?
If someone's missing, like, minyan,
Look,
or then other things.
I'm gonna defend this someone. Okay, this past year I made the kavod to buy Yonah. After Yonah Shabbat Mincha afternoon, I had a terrible headache. I lied down. For what was supposed to be half hour. I woke up. I didn't say the Aliyah of the Torah. Someone else had to say it in my place. Baruch Hashem, I made it for the Mincha, but I missed taking out the Torah. It's possible. Someone's not feeling well. They put their head down and they missed Mincha on Yom Kippur. So now they're going to make it up. Yeah. Yes, for sure. The Ta'anit is more important. What happens if you miss Musaf? We're going to say there's no makeup for Musaf. What happens if you miss Ne'ilah? I heard it today in the shir I was listening to that there's some that discuss it about whether you can make it up or not. I don't know. Just don't miss it on Ne'ilah. But I think there's some discussion. I'm going to just ask this following question. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's say it's Rosh Chodesh. This is just a fun case, just to like a brain twister. Let's say it's Rosh Chodesh. Shacharit Rosh Chodesh. I miss Ya'aleh V'yavo. My Shacharit Rosh Chodesh. I miss Ya'aleh V'yavo. So what do I have to do? You have to say it again. Very good. If you miss Ya'aleh V'yavo on Rosh Chodesh, you have to repeat it. Not for Arvit, for a different time, not for Arvit, but if I miss it for Shacharit, I have to say Shacharit again. Okay. What happens if I miss it for Mincha? Same thing. All right, now here's the case. You ready? If I miss it for Mincha, and then it's nighttime. So you might tell me that, hey, your Mincha was no good, so I need to make it up. What am I going to make it up at? I'll make it up in a regular chol, but I said that regular chol. That's literally what I said for Mincha.
Wasn't the time for Arvit?
I know, but what am I going to gain by saying this literally the same exact words?
First time you had to say Ya'aleh V'yavo, you did it.
Very good. Okay, so you guys are like already giving an answer. Very good. But to appreciate the question a little bit more before you jump at the answer, if I miss Mincha, I prayed Mincha on Rosh Chodesh, I just missed the Ya'aleh V'yavo. So I said it without Ya'aleh V'yavo. Now all of a sudden it's nighttime, I realized you missed it. What am I supposed to do? Go back. It's too late. Okay, I'm going to pray Arvit twice. Your Arvit, that second one, is going to be word for word, the same exact words that I said for Mincha. So what are you going to tell me to go back for? Because I missed Ya'aleh V'yavo, but I'm not saying it. But as you're saying, okay, but my obligation for mincha I did not fulfill. Therefore, I need to make it up, and I make it up at nighttime by praying the current prayer, which is Arvit. Okay. Wait. Now you're mixing multiple dimensions. Too much. No. Too much. A good question, but too much. Yes.
Statement on health satisfies the requirements to say that you're distinguishing between Kol and Shabbat.
Yeah.
Doesn't Hallel on Rosh Chodesh satisfy the Yavol requirement?
Very good question. Wow, creative. I think there's a pretty simple answer. I'll explain. First, I'll reword the question. Andy is trying to draw. This is what you call applying your knowledge. He took this case of if I miss Ata Chonantanu on Saturday night, you just told me I don't need to repeat. Why? Because I make it up with something else. I make it up with Havdalah, right? On the cup. So since I make it up with the cup, then I don't need to pray Arvit again. Now Andy is saying I'm going to take this logic and apply it by Shacharit of Rosh Chodesh. If I pray Shacharit and I miss Ya'aleh V'yavo, do I have to make it up? No, I'm saying Hallel. Maybe just the fact that I'm saying Hallel fulfills it the same way that the cup fulfills Havdalah.
What's
the
cashier of how long the it's not necessarily.
Okay. So I think very good. I think it's not the same mitzvah. You're not saying the same words. For sure, you're not saying the same words. You're not mentioning Rosh Chodesh in your Hallel. And also, here's the spoiler alert. Rosh Chodesh, there is no strict requirement to say Hallel. That's why when we say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh, we don't say it with the bracha. Sfaradim definitely don't. Ashkenazim, they do. But even they, Chatzi Hallel, they're only saying half. You're skipping things. The requirement to say Hallel is really on the Chagim, like on Sukkot, Shalosh Regalim. Is really when it gets, and then also adding Chanukah. But regardless, that's not how Chachamim establish it. Because you could then apply this question to Ya'aleh V'yavo in the morning of like if you say the wrong prayer on let's say on Sukkot. Okay, if you miss Ya'aleh V'yavo in the morning of Sukkot, you're going to say Hallel with the bracha, and still it wouldn't work. So it's a good thought, but it doesn't hang together. Good. Let's go. Oh my gosh, it's so late. All right. Remember I told you guys this once? Yeah. No, you should. You shouldn't like drop everything else now. Like you should try to catch Kiddusha. If you're doing Shacharit, you shouldn't do it and then do it right away. And now you can't answer Nagdishach. Answer Nagdishach and then pray. Or we spoke about this. Or maybe you should wait until Modim and then pray. Okay. Here we go. Oh, we're gonna start something that I need at least 20 minutes to get to the end of it. All right, we're gonna try. All right, guys, I hope you're here with me until 10 o'clock. Let's go. Itmar, there's a discussion between Rabbanim. Why or after what were the prayers established? Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina Amar, Tefilot, Avot, Tiknum. The prayers of Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit, the forefathers, meaning the three forefathers established them. Abraham established Shacharit, Yitzchak established Mincha, and Yaakov established Arvit. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Amar, Tefilot Keneged Temidin Tiknum. He says, no, it doesn't have to do with who the fathers, they were established by the rabbis corresponding to the korbanot that they would bring in the Mishkan. So there was et hakeves echad taaseh baboker, that's Shacharit. Et hakeves hasheni taaseh ben ha'arbaim, that's Mincha. What about Arvit?
We had a lot of kids in homes that his wife wanted to take care of him. I first this time. Arvit, sorry.
Okay, so we're actually going to see this concept. You guys are bringing up a good point. But first, let me just give a simple answer. The simple answer is that when they would bring the every day, no matter what, there would be two korbanot that were brought in the Beit HaMikdash or the Mishkan. One in the morning, communal, one in the afternoon. Now, that afternoon offering, very often, the burning of the fats and limbs would go into the night, would bleed into the night. And you had to finish that burning by the end of the night. There would be fats and limbs of it that did not have to be burned by the time of Mincha. It had to be burned by the end of the night. That's called Hektar Chalavim Ve'evarim. And so that corresponds to the Arvit prayer because it's still connected to the communal offering, but it's finishing up, it's the cleanup of that Mincha offering that goes into the night. That's what Arvit would correspond to. So we have two opinions here. First opinion, Rabbi Sheba Rabbi Chanina, is the three prayers correspond to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Rabbi Shua ben Levi tells us the three prayers correspond to Korbanot. Tefilot keneged avot tiknum, tefilot keneged korbanot tiknum, or timidin tiknum. These are the two sides that we're going to see. Now, the Gemara is now going to give us proofs for each one. Before that, there's just one thing I want to explain. When we say that the avot were mitaken at tefilot, it doesn't mean that Avraham Avinu had the same amidah that we have. Because the Gemara talks about how they established, the Anshe Knesset Geulah established the Shemona Esrei, the 18 Berachot, what they decided to put in the beginning, what they decided to put in the end, what they decided to put in the middle. They added one after the fact, which we're going to learn all of this. It doesn't mean that Avraham Avinu prayed the same thing that we prayed. It means that he decided that in the morning I'm going to pray to Hashem. And Yitzchak decided before the end of the day I'm going to pray to Hashem. That's Mincha. And Yaakov decided that in the evening I'm going to pray to Hashem. They were the ones that established this. And we're going to see proofs for that in the Gemara. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they established the exact Amidah that we have, but it means that they established the prayer at that time. Yes, question.
So that one kind of makes sense out of it, but the model or actually Korbanot, only body we're doing Korbanot. Everyone is now replicating that to the philosophy.
Very good question. Tony's looking out for his he's defending the Kohanim. Tony is basically going to abolish and not allow any non-Kohanim to come to the Beit Knesset. Only Kohanim are allowed to pray. Okay, who can give me an answer? Who can give me an answer? Tony's question is, Tony's question is, only the Kohanim are doing the Korbanot, so only the Kohanim should be praying. Answer?
So now we want to offer for the actual Israel has to do the blood.
Why can't the Kohanim just pray for us too?
Yeah, you're on the
Okay, very good. So that's correct. The Temidin belonged to all of Klal Yisrael. And the belonged to all of Am Yisrael. The funds came from everyone. How? Where would the funds of these sheep or goats that would be of the Tamid offering in the morning and the afternoon, where would it come from? Yeah. What? No. You're right, but not from the tithes. Very good. From the Machasita Shekel. Once a year, every year, there would be a specific tax of the half coin, the half shekel. And we would have to collect this every year before Nisan, which is why we do Zechel Machasita Shekel in the month of Adar. We do it when we're before, like around Purim time, because it's before Nisan. And every single year, starting with Nisan, they would have collected funds of every male would have to give a half coin. That was a separate tax. Hey, Ashir lo yarbeh v'hadar lo yamit. You couldn't give too much if you had more money, and you couldn't give too little if you're poor. You'd have to go borrow. You'd have to go ask the rich person for a donation so that you could go give it. This is how it would work. It belonged to everyone in equal share. In equal share. See, the difference is something like 10%. Someone is rich, they give more. If someone is poor, they give less. But this, every person gave the exact amount, half coin. So everyone had equal share in the korbanot. It belonged to all of Am Yisrael. For that reason, tefillot were given to all of the tefillot are established by all of Am Yisrael. Correct. Kohanim could have done it for other people, but There's a pasuk in there's a pasuk in the Shema Yisrael that we say ulovdo b'chol levavchem v'chol nafshechem. Ulovdo b'chol levavchem v'chol nafshechem. The Gemara Masechet Ta'anit Daf Bet Amud Aleph. It's the second time I'm quoting Daf Bet of Ta'anit in one night. It says Eizohi avodah shebalev, zohi tefillah. There is a mitzvah from the Torah. It's according to the Rambam. It's one of the 613 mitzvot. We have a mitzvah of tefillah. So Tony, it's not that we established the concept of tefillah to make up the korbanot. The concept of tefillah is in the Torah. It's that Chachamim established 3 times a day, which is rabbinic, to correspond to the 3 korbanot or the 3 sections of the korbanot that we would do every single day. But the obligation to pray every day is from the Torah. This is one of my favorite questions. People say, and I bet you some of you have thought about this. People say, Rabbi, tefillot are in the place of korbanot, right? Which means when we had a Beit HaMikdash, then no one was praying because they would bring the korbanot, right? Right? Now, you can't tell me no one thought this before. Someone must have thought this before, no? If tefillot are in the place of korbanot, so when we had korbanot, we wouldn't be praying, right? No, that's not what this is saying. The mitzvah of tefillah is from the Torah. Ulovdo b'chol levavchem. You have to serve God with your entire heart. According to the Rambam, this is a mitzvah from the Torah. According to the Ramban, it's a mitzvah from the Torah during times of struggles. But there's an obligation to pray. So what does it mean that it's enacted in the place of tefillot, of korbanot? That means our sages decided to do 3 times a day corresponding to the korbanot. The times of the tefillot we're going to see correspond to the times of the korbanot. They found something to correspond our prayers to, but the concept of prayer is not made up in lieu of the korbanot. It's after the korbanot, that's all we have. But it's not that it was invented in lieu of the korbanot, right? So that's why it's not something that just belongs to Kohanim. It's a mitzvah that belongs to all of Am Yisrael. Okay, good. Question? You had a question? Someone had a question here? No? Okay. All right. Let's do it one more time. I want everyone to say it. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina tells us tefillot avot tiknum. Everyone say tefillot avot tiknum. That means the fathers established them. And Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, tefillot keneged temidin tiknum. That means they were established to correspond to the temidin, the korban tamid. Okay. Tanya kavatei de Rabbi Yosef ben Chanina. We're going to have a braita that supports the opinion of Rabbi Yosef, who is an Amorah. Remember, Rabbi Yosef ben Chanina is an Amorah. He has a braita that supports him. Tanya kavatei de Rabbi Shua ben Levi. And we have another braita that supports the view of Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So you have these two that are arguing, and they each have a braita in their corner. Let's see the braitot. We're gonna go a little bit fast, but it's gonna be clear. Tanya kavatei Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina. The braita that is in support of the opinion of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina is as follows: Avraham tiken tefilat shacharit. The braita tells us that Avraham established shacharit. It's pretty clear that this is a good proof that the fathers established the prayer. It's telling us explicitly, Avraham established shacharit. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, "Vayashkem Avraham baboker." Avraham wakes up in the morning. Ela makom asher amad sham. He went to the spot that he stood there. Avraham got up to the spot that he stood there. What do you mean that he stood there? Vein amida el tefillah. Amida amad. He stood there in prayer. That's why we call it Amidah. He stood there to pray. He established the prayer by Vayashkem Baboker, praying in the morning.
Wait, wasn't this?
Yes.
So what's the next tefillah? He stood.
Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Vaya'amot Pinchas Vayfalel. There's a pasuk in Tehillim that says Pinchas stood and prayed. Very good. This is what you call a Gezerah Shava. Gezerah Shava. You have a word in Tehillim that says Ve'amot Pinchas Vayfalel. He stood and he prayed. And here it says he got up in the morning and he stood. And we say in Amidah ela tefillah. So you see that connection that Amidah has a context of prayer. Yes.
Between Korah and Tehillim, now stretch.
Yes. What you're seeing here, okay, it's a good question. He's saying, Gabriel's question is, how do you know that's what the pasuk in Bereshit means? Because you're bringing me a proof from Tehillim. David HaMelech, before David HaMelech wrote this, or did they not think this? Very good. So the idea here is that when this is written in Tehillim, it's expressing a concept that already exists. That by Yamot Pinchas Vayfalel, this word of Amidah is how you would pray. You would pray by standing. So the word Amidah means to pray. This is not a ironclad proof. This is a type of agada. This is an agada. This is an agadata type of Gemara. The Gemara is going to go through right now, finding 3 psukim. Let me just give the background for Gabriel. It's a good point. We're going to find 3 actions by the 3 avot, and each of them are going to be in a different time of day. Abraham is going to be in the morning. Yitzchak is going to be in the afternoon. Yaakov is going to be in the night. And for each one, there's a verb. And we're going to find another pasuk somewhere in Tanakh that connects that verb to prayer. So we're showing Abraham is in Shacharit, Yitzchak is in Mincha, and Yaakov is in Arvit, and they each did something that word is connected to prayer elsewhere. Is that an ironclad proof? No, but it's a support for this view that Abraham was mitaken Shacharit, Yitzchak was mitaken Mincha, and Yaakov was mitaken Arvit. Let's go through the flow. One more time. Abraham got up in the morning in the place that he stood. Amidah means prayer. Shneimar, as the pasuk elsewhere says, Pinchas stood and prayed. So he got up in the morning and he stood, which means he prayed. Yitzchak tiken tefilat mincha. Yitzchak established the prayer of mincha. Shneimar, vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh. Yitzchak went out to lasuach means to have a conversation. Sicha is a conversation. Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh. Yitzchak went out into the field to speak, to converse. Lifnot arev, as it was approaching the evening. This was before he met his kala. Rivka was coming, Eliezer was coming with the camels to greet them. But it says Lifnot arev, before evening. That's mincha time. And sicha here is referring to having a conversation. It refers to tefillah. How do you know? Shnemar, tefillah le'anichi ya'atov. Also, pasuk of Tehillim, the prayer of the poor person when he wraps himself up, and in front of God, he pours out his words, his conversation. This is a poor person who is praying tefillah, and he's pouring out his conversation. So you see, sicha could be prayer. Hold on, let's do all 3, then we'll pause for questions. Yaakov tiken tefilat arvit, and Yaakov established the prayer for arvit because he did something in the evening. It says, and he reached the place. Paga means to meet. He reached the place, and he went to sleep. This is when he had his dreams, and it happened at the night. It says he reached there. Paga. Same thing. Pegia, that verb of pegia means tefillah. Shneimar, as you have a pasuk in Yirmiyahu, that once again is going to connect pegia to tefillah. Ve'ata, you. Don't pray for them. Don't do anything on their behalf. Don't on their behalf raise your prayers. Tefillah. And don't encounter me. Once again, pegia is a word that's used in the same context for a prayer. Now, to Gabriel's point, this is not an ironclad proof. But from the other side, it's pretty remarkable. Abraham did something in the morning. That verb is amad. And you have another pasuk that says amidah is vaypalel. Yitzchak did something in the afternoon, lifnot arev, and that word is sicha. And another pasuk says sicha is someone who's doing tefillah. And Yaakov did something in the evening, that's pegia. And you have another pasuk that says, don't give me your prayers, don't be tifkabi. Same word. So it's pretty remarkable that you have 3 prayers, 3 avot. Abraham mitaken shacharit, Yitzchak did mincha, Yaakov did arvit. Questions? Tony.
What's the simple meaning of that word? Really the mean, reversing, was it reversing on the fire side? That- I'm really
See-
telling us that you-
Okay, so what is the pshat of siach? The simple meaning of the word sicha is to have a conversation. So who is he conversing with? So if all the more so, he's talking with God. I once had a professor in Yeshiva University who I asked, who was an etymologist, focused on the meanings of words. I asked him, what does it mean? I asked him this question. He said, suach means to meditate. He went out to meditate, to think through. Now, he wasn't just relaxing. The idea is that it was a contemplative action. He was doing something. He went out in the evening to do something. It wasn't to relax, it was something active. And he said, he said that the etymology of the word is to, what's the word? To meditate, to have some sort of thought. But in your zechut, let's look what, let me just change the translations here. How do you, oh, here. Translations. Let's try Koren. Oh! And Yitzchak went out to meditate in the field in the evening. You see that? Yitzchak, sorry, Yitzhak went out to meditate in the field in the evening time. That's what Quran says. Let's see what Mitsuda says. Mitsuda says, Yitzchok went, now you know which one is Ashkenazi. Yitzchok went out to meditate in the field toward the evening. That's Mitsuda. The Shakin Bible, I don't know who that is, but he said he went out for a stroll. Contemporary JPS says they went out walking. Okay, whatever. We're not going to do a whole study on this. Let's see if there's anything else. The Shraga Silverstein. Isaac went out to pray in the field. I bet you Rabbi Shraga Silverstein got that from our daf. He just translated it based on our daf. He went out to pray. Look at this. JPS in 1917 said meditate. In 1985, they changed it to walk. And then in 2006, they said, yeah, went out walking. Who said stroll? Oh, I don't know who this is. They changed over time. But even they, oh, now this is my favorite. Bold Unculus Mitsuda. Meditate, pray. So they're telling you both. Okay, Tony? You got your answer? Etymologically, I asked an etymologist, professor at Yeshiva University, and he said the word, simple meaning of the word means to meditate. Which part of prayer is meditating? So it's connected. It's not a stretch. It's not a stretch. He's going out to have this conversation with himself, with God. That was tefillah. It's not that much of a stretch. And the fact that Abraham got up in the morning to the place where he stood, we know that Abraham conversed with Hashem. We know that he was going to do something of giving up his son's life. And Yaakov that night had a conversation with God. Yeah, he had the dream. God appeared to him. He did wake up and have this conversation with God. He had some sort of a nevuah. So it's not, these aren't a stretch. It's not that this is a proof that he came up with this prayer, but it shows that Abraham had a conversation with God, had tefillah in the morning, and in Yitzchak in the afternoon, and Yaakov had Arvit. Okay?
It's difficult to hear us, the our tefillah to Abraham and stuff. These are in the meeting.
Correct.
They speak to Hashem, they're going to answer back. They hear it answer. You know what I'm saying?
So what are you saying? You're saying
Us today, we don't know what's in the meeting.
okay, very good. So you're saying they prayed
They pray.
at their level, and they were our fathers, and they set a model for us to pray at our level. We're not expected to be the avot, but what we do is we learn from our avot, and our avot established 3 different times, and we followed that model. It's not that our prayer is now prophecy. It's not. It's not at the same level. But we have this model that we learn from them, according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina. Okay, there's a lot more to discuss here, but this is where we are so far. Where we are so far is that there's 2 opinions as to how the 3 prayers were established. The first opinion was Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina that says Keneged Avot, and he has a proof. His Braita gives us 3 scriptural proofs that Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov established Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit, respectively. Okay? The other opinion of Rishon ben Levi tells us that it's connected to korbanot, to midin. And the next braita we're going to have is going to be very heavy proof towards that. And the Gemara is going to then say, so which one is correct? The tiebreaker? Why does it have to be one or the other? It's going to be the answer, Ila. You learned this already. It's in there. It's somewhere in there. It's just coming back to you. Yeah. But the tiebreaker is going to be, albeit spoiler alert, the tiebreaker is going to be Musaf. If you have a Musaf prayer and there's a Musaf Korban, that sounds strongly that it's Keneged Korbanot. But as we're going to see, the Gemara is actually going to say how this is a synthesized answer. There's going to be both. We're going to need both of these answers. I'll just tell you the last thing. This is more, I heard Rabbi Mansour say this, how he said there's many people that they don't come to Kanisa. Shalom, the only time they come to Kanisa is all of a sudden when someone passes away. The father passes away, all of a sudden they come to pray Kaddish. And so he says, Tefilot avot tiknum. The father makes the son eventually come, because when the father passes away, that's when the child comes. He's almost like a tongue-in-cheek way of saying is that you get to choose how and when you come to Kanisa. Either you come on your own, or at one point, Shalom Nida, the father will. Now, obviously, this is not what the meaning here is at all. That's just a nice catchphrase that rabbis use as a way to give musar to tell people to come to Kanisa. So don't take it the wrong way, but it is just a nice idea. That the truth is there are many people that have come for Kaddish and then they stay afterwards as well. Okay? B'ezras Hashem. Oh, for the people on YouTube and for everyone here, B'ezras Hashem, next week I would like to have a dinner to have a siyum of the third parak, the first three parakim that we had. When we took a poll of people who would come tonight, 2 people said yes. I don't know why it's like a packed house tonight with tons of energy. We should have done it tonight. But B'ezras Hashem, next week, we're good? We're good? B'ezras Hashem? You're gonna, okay, so we have to this week, we'll take a poll. We'll make sure we'll get a head count. Next week, hopefully we'll start a little bit earlier. Instead of starting at 8:30, we'll start at 8. So this way we can have dinner. And I'm gonna ask you guys all to do something. Homework. Come with something that we learned in the first 3 prakim. Whatever you want. Even if someone else says it, it's okay. Something in the first 3 chapters. So this way we could just reflect. Ideally the 3rd chapter, because we haven't done that yet. But something from the first 3 chapters, something that we could reflect and have a good time. We'll eat, we'll drink. Yeah. Just talk about the bathroom. Okay, Azak Baruch, everyone. Have a great week.